Okay, welcome watch lovers. This is Dave, the New Yorker, and I've had a chance to own several Sinn watches in my time as a watch aficionado, but this is definitely one of my favorite models. Today we're looking at the Sinn 857 UTC S. That's the black tegimented version, and today it's on the bracelet. Now, this watch retails right now, I think it's around $2,700 on the bracelet, and I think it's actually been reduced a bit, probably due to the recent unpegging and of the Swiss franc. So that I think even on watch buys, for example, it's listed as a foreign exchange discount. So right now it's around $2,700. It was usually in the past it's been about $2,900, $3,000 on the bracelet and the PVD version. I'm not exactly sure what type of treatment they use for the black color. If it's PVD, I don't think it's technically DLC, but in any event, the watch is tegimented, and so it celebrates a hardness that's, I think, even beyond the normal tegimented models without the black coating. So this model is about 43 millimeters in diameter, not including the crown and the crown guards. It wears fairly well on the wrist. 43 can sound big if you don't have a large wrist. My wrist is actually pretty big at about 7 1/4. But since it's so flat, I think it's just over 12 millimeters in thickness. The watch really wears well. It'll wear slightly bigger than, a Submariner 40 millimeter size, but it won't look, way too big if that's not what you're into, and that's really more my style. This really hits the pocket of over 40 and below 44 perfectly for me. So this watch is a 2893 movement with a second time zone on it. Right now, well, the date is just off, but it's a screw down crown, and I can show you the action here, where if you unscrew it and you pull it out one click and you rotate it forward, that should change the UTC hand, and if you rotate it the other way on this first click, it changes the date. So I'll just show you. If you pull it out all the way, then you can adjust your time. And as you can see, 2893, the second time zone hand rotates with it. And I think we might have a date change. See, there it is. Usually recommended, and I do this as a habit, to not change the date until you're past about 8 in the morning. And so I'll just change it to today, 27th. Also, you can see here that, I hope you can catch it, in the light you get a little bit of the blue on the sapphire front crystal, and that's because of the AR coating they put on these models to prevent glare. Which, because it's a blacked out tactical watch, that makes even more sense for this particular model. Let's see if I can get the focus there. This one's, it's a watch I got used. You can see it's held up really well. The one area you'll see wear on these, pretty much no matter what, is between the links. You can see how it's just from the friction, normal everyday use. But other than that, and you know, somebody may correct me and say that that's a manufacturing uh, spec that they're done like that, but I don't think so. I've owned this model before, and I don't think my prior watch serial had that issue because it was a newer one. You can see that it holds up well. This watch is from, I think, 2010, maybe 2011, and you know, 4 or 5 years, still keeping great time and still looking really sharp. You know, the Sinn, they're an excellent German manufacturer. In addition to the technology, you know, something I haven't talked about, for example, is the copper sulfate capsule that they include here to give you a sense of the amount of moisture inside the movement, or rather, the copper sulfate, I believe, absorbs the moisture and prevents the movement from getting too not damp, but from getting even an incremental amount of moisture in there until it turns really dark blue, and then you send it in and they replace it, and you know, the idea being that you really extend the life, you know, the service intervals when you're keeping moisture out of the movement. And so I think this watch is a testament to that, being that it's 5 years old and hasn't required any kind of service. And the tolerances, you know, I really like the Sinn style bracelet. It just wears very comfortably. It's a normal, you know, the clasp is good. It's not, you know, this part of the clasp is not, I don't think, carved out of a single block of steel like some of the newer brands, and that's a nice quality addition. But it doesn't have, you know, at least it has a thicker extension here in the clasp, and it feels pretty robust. It has the nice diver's extension here, even though this is, in my opinion, more of a pilot watch. I mean, definitionally it is a pilot watch, but they are water resistant to 20 bar, you can see, or 200 meters. So this thing can go in probably any depth of water that I'm ever going to go to, and she'll be fine so long as that crown is screwed down. I'll show you it on the wrist. Like I said, I have about a 7 1/4, just over that, maybe 7 3/8 inch wrist. So you can see, you know, it wears very nicely on my wrist. It's a good size, not big at all, but not small. And this is, like I said, my favorite pocket in terms of size watch. And then one of the other points of quality is that the action on the bezel is it's a bidirectional bezel, rotates both ways. Again, pilot watch, not dive watch, in theory. And it's you know, there are a lot of different kinds of ratchet, or you know, and I think some of the competitor brands like Damasco has some nice ceramic ball rotating bezels, but this bezel really is fine, particularly because it's bidirectional. But it feels really satisfying when you're rotating it around, and you know, using it as a countdown or a count up, you know, to for whatever purpose you need it. It works.
A great responsibility rests upon each of you.
One of my other favorite things about this watch is that, well, it just, the color scheme is excellent, and it really goes well on, you know, not just this black bracelet, but also like a brown strap. I have this here that I use frequently. Sorry about that. TV just turned on a bit by itself. And this is only my second watch review. I think in the first one I dropped the watch I was reviewing, so bear with me here. But you know, it's a very versatile watch, being a tactical watch, and I think it really stands the test of time. You know, in 10, 20 years, this watch, because it's you know, it's not uncluttered. There's a second time zone. There's a lot of loom, C1 loom on this thing, but it's still very easy to read, and I think that style, while not, you know, the Bauhaus style a la Nomos Glashütte or a similar, you know, German brand, you can see the elements of that watch design mentality at play here. So I'll just wrap up by giving you a couple of views of the watch here. Thank you for watching. Look for a few more videos from me, Dave the New Yorker. Cheers.